Yo, what's up, Banter fam? I do apologize for being quite late. As you can see, we don't have the music playing. Reason being is I have a brand new setup in a new studio. We have a lot of new equipment, and it's obviously just not working fantastic with us at this moment. But we are getting used to it, and we will make sure that from tomorrow everything's up to scratch. And obviously knowing that the show times have changed. We are now running at, I think it's 6 a.m. EST. So we're running 2 hours later. Reason being, I was with the fans in Miami, and a lot of them were saying, like, come on, Sheldon, we're getting up every morning at 4 o'clock to watch your shows. Like, can we please try and adjust something or just work? So we thought we'd basically shift it by 2 hours just to make sure that everyone doesn't have to get up too early. We can still get a little bit of a sleep. But yeah, just to make your guys' lives a lot easier. So guys, we did have it. It's been a while. I do apologize for not being able to be here so much in the last week. It's been quite tough to do the shows, especially when we were in Miami and where I was currently at. It was very tough for me to broadcast. I am sorry I missed this very monstrous candle with you guys. But, at some point, it's also really good for me because, it teaches me that when things sort of go against of what you're thinking at times, is to take that break, is to get a little bit of back because, we could have made really rash decisions. And as you can see, the markets do bounce at really specific levels. And this is what I'm going to be getting in today, showing you where we're looking at next. Is this a massive problem now? Are we in a full-time bear cycle? Can Bitcoin break all-time high? And I'm going to be giving you guys many different views on where I'm seeing Bitcoin at, the different possibilities of where we're looking at, where the Bitcoin dominance is at, and obviously what happened to the damn altcoins, and what's next for in the market. So I think let's get into it. And
click. Have you heard the news? What? With his finger on the pulse, it's like Sheldon knew. Click. When the sniper shoots, we got Sheldon on the chart, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. So enter the sniper, click. Time to be dedicated, sniper mode is activated. Explosions in the market are in target, and Sheldon demonstrates. Mirror on the wall, Master Sheldon tell us all. We got Sheldon on the chart, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. Enter the sniper, click. Enter the sniper. Enter the sniper.
So Banter fam, welcome to all our beloved fans. It was amazing to meet you guys. I met so many of them. It was an absolute fantastic time in Miami. I saw a whole different side. I actually forget that there's other people on the other side of these cameras, and when to see it in actual real life, it was quite overwhelming. But wow, was it really fantastic to hear the stories. And I loved the conference. I really loved the fact that people came together. I remember seeing everyone very awkward, very the unknown in the beginning, and then looking 4 days later and looking how everyone came together. You got the groups of different people. So many people made a lot of friends, and it just shows, the power of an actual community. So to our community out there, what's up, everybody? And to everyone that is brand new to this channel, I need you to hit that like button, to subscribe. Make sure you're on all of our social media platforms. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, on Instagram. You're on our Telegram groups. Remember, guys, we are here to form the biggest and baddest community out there so that you're not alone through this progress. You are with each other. Make sure you're using all of our tools. Make sure you sign up to all the things, because that's the way we can help you guys through all these big moments. Remember something. We come to you, and I especially come to you guys, 30, 40 minutes every day, right? But the rest of the 23 hours, I am not with you. And in that time, you remember that even though I'm here giving my analysis every day and I'm giving you the view of what I'm looking at, remember, you still 95% of the time are by yourself, and you are the one that has to make those end decisions. You're the one that's got to click the button. You're the one that's got to put your stop loss in play. You're the one that's got to look to take profits. All we can do is give you, a nice view of what we're looking at. And at times we get it wrong, and a lot of times we also get it right. And the main thing is, this is a free information source for you. You are filled with YouTube, filled free of education. Guys, you know how much people pay in universities for these things? And there's we're literally in a source where you can get so much info. And the only thing is, I would say my responsibilities to my structures differ to yours. I don't know what you're looking for out of this. I'm not looking for what you actually want in crypto. And that's why you got to take the info and you have to build it to your structure. But the main purpose is, I'm here every day. I do apologize for the last 7 days, but I will always be here to help you guys through these times and to make sure that you have a back in between that. And as long as you guys are learning that this market goes in 3 different directions. And right now, we are in a downwards direction in the market. But remember, you're going to be going through, at times in your career, you're going to be going through down, you're going to be going through sideways, and you're going through upwards trend. If you can at least go through all 3 of those cycles, you're finally learning the different views of how you should be approaching each. You should know that in a downward trend, you should not be going, too crazy when it comes to the buys, because we don't know yet where the bottom was. At times we think so, and at times I think so, but so many times the market will move against. And this is where the market teaches you a lot of, I can teach you so much, and the market's going to teach you the rest. And end of the day, we're going through this cycle now of this downwards trend, and then there can be a sideways trend, and then there can be the big bad upwards trend, but at least you're going through it. Because the problem is, if you come into this market and you just experience this, right? Then you have no idea what this feels like, which means the next time this runs up, you're not going to care about taking profits. You're not going to care about rearranging your portfolio because you don't know it yet. Now we're on the other side where you're seeing this, and it's painful, right? It's hurtful. It sucks. You know what I mean? When I looked at my portfolio, I was like, what? What happened in the last, 2-3 months? I've seen a complete different shift. But end of the day, it just reminded me again that this always happens. We're always going to go through different cycles. And the next time I see my coins and I see my portfolio doing this, I better think different, and I better be doing something different to what I did previously, because I don't want to feel like that again. Remember, this is a complete emotion market always, and you need to identify what all sides feel like so that next time you understand. So don't look at this as a, dollar wise, terrible. I'm upset. I'm like, really? Has this really happened to my portfolio? But knowledge wise, it's teaching me a lot for the next run. And all that I know is this is a big flushing out system. It's a way to get rid of the weak. It's a way that the big guys can be stocking up. And it's all off pure emotion. So what I'm looking at now with Bitcoin is we can see very clearly we are in a downwards trend, right? We can see still to this point, we are making lower highs, and we're making lower lows at this point. And we got some really, panic in the markets. And as we could see, it was a big acceleration down. We do know a big part of it came through from the stock markets, but it just then reminds you again that crypto is a very emotional market. People take things way too seriously. They panic out way too big. And just remember, doesn't matter where you are buying is. Do you know how many poor fellas have sold out here now? And they're going to wait until Bitcoin gets to higher levels, and then they're going to only start buying back in. So as long as you can start putting in your own mind that I'm not reacting the way the normal react anymore, and I'm putting things, you'll see how big of a role that plays in the future. Now, what I'm looking at with Bitcoin is we did drop down quite a bit. We ended up topping or bottoming around 33K, which is a lot lower than what I expected. But end of the day, even when we were sitting at 48K, I was still at that point where I'm not panicking out of the markets. Why? Because I don't sell off big dump offs. I don't sell any time when we've had any big pullbacks in the market. It's just I'm not going to be one of those that get flushed out. End of the day, what was I actually waiting for? I was waiting to see when this run ends. And when this run ends and we have a retracement to the upward side, remember, bulls are always going to be, responding. They're always going to be responding when the bears have taken control. There's always going to be a pullback in the market. What I mean by that is nothing goes in a straight line. Similar to the upward side, you are going to get the response. Same to the upward, when the bulls take control, you are going to get the response down. But the main thing is, where is that bottom? And if that bottom you know, where do we finally break trend and have the bulls to reclaim? And does that mean that for the remainder of the year, can we be looking at a prolonged bear cycle? Can we be looking for a whole year or 2 years of non-movement in the market? Yes, I do know there's a big meeting today, and these are big things that play a lot with the FUD. And it goes well today. We're going to see a strong reaction in the markets, and that's why I'm going to give you the different views. But where I'm looking at now is Bitcoin went to 33K, right? Before that, Bitcoin went to 29K. So I'm still seeing very clear that we haven't made that lower low yet on the weekly sort of chart. Now, I don't care if it was 48, I don't care if it was 40. I didn't want to panic out of the market. Why? Because I'm planning for the next move. And what I mean is the next move, when we get a reaction in the market to the upward side or anything that, did I make that lower low? Because if I made that lower low, am I going to make the lower high? Which means the next strong leg up to the upward side, I got to start freeing up. I got to get into dollars now because, much higher time frame skill, this doesn't end well. And it's showing me that, I'm not panicking out on the dumps because, we don't sell red in this. We wait for the next push up. But is that next push up going to reclaim the higher high? Can we still get an all-time high this year? Can we get these sort of things? That's the questions that you ask. And even though we didn't catch the 40 correctly, and now we're down to 33, that wasn't my purpose of this. My purpose wasn't to catch the exact bottom or to do those things because, at times I'm never gonna, you know what I mean? At times I'm gonna, at times I'm not. The main thing is I want to now know, is Bitcoin healthy for the remainder of the year? Because is it going to play a pattern like this? Or is it going to play, let's have a look here, a pattern like this? Now, this is an important pattern for us to know now because, we can see very clearly that Bitcoin's sort of running in a sideways flag now. And, previously, Bitcoin's done this already many times. The only difference is we were doing it on different frames. Now, different values, if I could say. Look how we literally chopped up down over a good period of months to a year or two. Look how we did this. We literally challenged in this big range over here. Look how we ranged up and down. And, end of the day, it's a very similar percentage to where we are now. But the only difference was the values. But look how we ranged. And then look what happened after that. Now, is Bitcoin in a bigger range territory? Is it in the point where, yes, because remember where we came from previously. We were ranging in this area. We then rallied up. We started ranging in a higher point. We then rallied up. Now, is Bitcoin, ranging in an area where we can see this sideways and this big volatility, for the next few months? It could be possibly for the next year. And I do have a view here that if Bitcoin does make its way down to the 29K area, we could be possibly looking at a big head and shoulders pattern playing out here, where we're basically in a sort of flag position now. But it's showing me that if we do show weakness and we do come to any of these levels, we're finally starting to break these levels, which means I'm not panicking out here because I'm not a sheep. Like I'm not going to sell off in any of this because what happens, this happened previously. What happens if you panicked out there? We literally had a strong push to the upward side. And that would have been your signal on when to basically start taking some sort of profits, right? Remember, we're still learning as the market goes. But if you have a look here now, if we go anywhere, right now we're still holding the higher high in play. Technically, higher high, the higher low, sorry, we can still make a higher high on the next run up, right? That's basically what makes sense of it. Now, if we look and we make to 28K, it's showing me very much we can be making a lower low. And this can show us that we're playing a head and shoulders pattern, which means on this next leg up, I have to take profits. I got to go into a big range because if we don't hold this higher low in point here, I'm not panicking out here. That's not the point. It's showing me for the next rally to the upward side that I need to make some decisions now because the next move can lead Bitcoin back to a 20K Bitcoin. And, that's where you got to sort of be realistic with it. But where we were approaching for the last, 2 months wasn't wrong. It was never wrong to say that could be the up, that could be the up, that could be the up. Remember, this wasn't the point of panicking out of the market. It was about making the decision for the next move and to understand, where can we actually go from here and what is the next sort of plan that we're looking at. So what I'm looking at is, let's jump into the smaller time frames, is we have this channel, right? And as long as we don't break out of this channel, still indicates we can make a lower low. So what I mean by that is we have very key resistance sitting at around 42,000. Between 40 and 42,000 does look like the area that we could rally up to, because of the daily RSI's reset, because a lot of the time frame showing that the bulls are going to try hold. We did have quite a bit of volume. Let's see if I can get volume up here. We did have good buying volume come up in these areas over here. Think about it. It went very cheap, guys. So we did get a lot of interest. The only thing is now we are rallying up to the area, and that's the key area we want to break out. Now, if we don't break out, it is showing me then from here, it's very definite. If I still make the lower high, I can still make way down to the region of 30 to the 32K region to that 29K low. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, what does that do for me? It gives me the decision on the higher time frame. This can possibly be the next play for the market. Now, if we still hold the 30K region, we still hold, and we actually end up breaking out of this wedge. Let me just get back in there. And let me just get rid of this over here. There we go. If we still break out of the zone over here, we are still reclaiming the higher high on the way higher time frames. And it still means, there's a possibility of Bitcoin still making the higher high within a few months, within the next year. And this was just obviously a screaming face by the dip situation. So what I want to see here is I do want to see a rally from Bitcoin to 45K. We need that now. We need a nice little rally. It then makes sense we reclaim the first higher high, then a little test. End of the day, this can make a nice little head and shoulders for us in play. And then we can start looking at a little bit of recovery. And as long as we hold the 30K level as the low, it's still showing that Bitcoin can still chase the 60, 65K region. If Bitcoin bottoms out, under 30K, then we know by the time we get to 50, 55K area, we need to start freeing up a lot of dollars. Now, if we have a look, we obviously know now that dominance rallying, right? Altcoins getting smashed, right? I think people do forget though that, the altcoins were the ones rallying. And I know, personally for me, obviously my alt bags are getting destroyed right now, but I know how these alts bounce. And I know, if Bitcoin gets the key break of trend of where we're looking at, remember this dominance is going to the area. And we were speaking for the last, month or so to say dominance can make its way between 44, 45%, anywhere in these levels over here. I don't see the dominance going to 50 again. I think the game has changed. I think there's a lot more fundamentals playing in. Bitcoin's boring. It's a store of value. And I think the more exciting alts, they're the ones that are really reacting well. But what I am looking here is the only reason this is happening, we have Bitcoin going up now, right? For the last 2-3 days, Bitcoin's going up, and we got dominance rallying up. The reason why Bitcoin is rallying up and we don't have dominance coming down and alts really catching up quickly is because of the confidence. Because Bitcoin's not at the levels that we need it to be at for people to be confident in the alts right now, because they got so destroyed. And the sad thing is people got panicked out of the alts. And that's why we saw such a big drop in the alts. And then what happens? Then at any point, we got Bitcoin breaking the 40K region. We then get a collapse in dominance. We get a massive alt catch up. And then people start buying back into the alts. And you see how it's a rat race on how they basically just trap you again. And it's this main sort of, flushing out system again. And they end up, are we going to wait for the alts to pump and then you're going to buy it? Or are you going to look and say, wow, DOT is 77% or 75% down from all-time high. Chainlink is down 75% from all-time high. Luna is down. AVAX is down. Everything is down 50, 60, 70%. No one wants to buy. Even though fundamentally they're going up. They're fantastic projects. A lot of things are happening. But let them go up 50%, everyone wants to buy. So I know they got destroyed. But end of the day, we are getting that reversal move in dominance again, where dominance is working in favor with Bitcoin. Which means when Bitcoin gets to key levels and we get confidence back in the market, you get a big catch up from the alts. Which means alts are on massive specials right now. And even though we've been buying the dips and they've been going down quite a bit, the alt bounce is the most aggressive bounce. Guys, let me actually show you something here. I just want to show you what I actually mean by this. So let's go here. Let's clear up this chart. And let me actually add in a second chart over here. So let's go here and let's add in a Solana chart. Okay, let's clear that up. Let's go to play. There's the weekly. There we go. Now, if we have a look here, do you remember May crash, right? Let's go to May. There was the May crash. Make this bigger for everyone. June, May. There we go. So there was the big May crash on Bitcoin. there was the big crash in Solana, right? Solana was at $58. It then fell all the way to $18. So how big is that? Very similar to what we're going through right now, right? Where everything dropped 60%, 50%. Look at then after that. We then went into sideways phase. Then we started to get a rally bounce from Bitcoin, right? Gradual little growth. What happened to Solana after that? Look, I can't even zoom in enough. So even though we had the same pullback and Solana fell, a lot more than what Bitcoin did in the May drop, do you look at the different reaction though? Do you see what happens when we get a turn in dominance? Because yes, Solana and a lot of the alts took the bigger knock, but end of the day, you go look at all of the coins that fell in May. All of the big ones, if you're looking at Luna, if you're looking at Solana, if you're looking at Phantom, if you look at all those charts, they all had a way bigger drop than Bitcoin. But as soon as Bitcoin got to key levels, you see here, as soon as it got to key levels where confidence came back in the market, look here. So Bitcoin started to rally up, right? Getting up. Okay, they're still not sure. People are still not sure. They're not sure. So what happens? There goes Solana. Let me zoom in a little bit more there. Little growth. Now all of a sudden, Bitcoin starts breaking key levels. And what I meant by that is, look at this trend over here. Let's put that trend in play. Boom. There we go. So now all of a sudden, Bitcoin breaks a key level where confidence comes back into the market. Now all of a sudden, what happens to Solana? Boom. Absolute eruption to the upward side. Now, a lot of people over here were pissed off. They were upset. I bought Solana at 58. It's now $18. I've this. But do you see what the big opportunity was in that point? Because fundamentally, things are still growing, right? We're still getting massive increases in these things. People are still so interested in crypto right now. It's ridiculous. So the fundamentals are killing it at this point. The only problem is the price. And now they're all looking at Bitcoin because Bitcoin's dropped so much. Now all the focus is back on there. But as soon as you get to those key levels and those breakouts, you would understand that these were the best buying opportunities. And this is something that I learned over the last week with our, the conference and meeting the fans. Do you know that 90% of them, a lot of them made a lot of money with us? They did. Of course they did. And even though the new guys that has joined us in the last 6 months or the last 4 months can be down, right? Of course. But all those guys that started with us a year ago were also all down in the May crash. But they're all the ones that are currently have Solana at $20. They are still 4x up on their Solana positions. They're the ones that have Luna at $8, $10. Because they stuck through the time where it's the flushing system, not understanding that this is the bargains of a lifetime right now, because these are projects that make sense, that are actually being used. And then you can see, as soon as everyone gets back in, guess where the next people were buying? They were buying here. And remember, for us, everyone can get carried away, because a lot of things were showing that this was a previous bull cycle compared to 2017, 2013. Everything was looking the same. So when it came to November time, all of us were saying, Bitcoin's going to go to 100K. That's where the pure emotion comes into play. But if you just went through these previous cycles, you'll be on a lot better sort of, understanding of where we're at. And you'll see that everything took a big smack, very similar to where we're at now. It's not uncommon. We've had bigger smacks in this. The March drop was bigger 2 years ago than what we've seen now. But, I remember that March drop 2 years ago. Chainlink went to $1 thing. 2 years ago, you'll still be 15x up on your Chainlink position today, even though the market's dropped 70% or Chainlink's dropped 70%. You'll still be. So, this is where the understanding is. We don't always catch the bottoms, and I'll never catch a bottom. But end of the day, I understand the flushing system. And I understand that this is the part of the game, but you don't understand that when this dominance reverses, when Bitcoin finally makes it back to the levels and we get a big dominance reverse, is when you really see something magnificent and you see a massive catch up from the alts. So I know the alts that are bleeding now, but there's no way I'm getting flushed out of my alts now, especially the good ones, especially the ones that actually make a lot of sense and actually doing something. I'm not getting flushed out. My main thing is, where's Bitcoin? And is Bitcoin going to reclaim these levels? Are we going to get to a point where if we still hold this, I know that Bitcoin is clearly in the sideways range over here. And all it's doing is accumulating in a big range. And if we can hold these levels over here, it's still showing me a very strong leg to these positions. Now, if it doesn't, now you use the simplicity tool, which is your normal 618 tool. Remember, I was teaching you guys 618s, right? Now, let me show you here how to use this tool to just show you why we don't panic out of the market. Now, if you have a look, that from this drop over here to there, was a 70% drop, right? Or 60% drop in the total market. If I take the tool from here to the bottom, we like to go to 618. That still means that if Bitcoin didn't break through these levels over here, Bitcoin could have easily done this. So it means it's still a negative view. It's still, higher time frame. Bitcoin could still go lower. But you see what it did was I didn't panic out. I wait for retrace. And if we get to 618, that's where I understand that that's where I should be freeing up or getting sort of, taking a lot more sort of profits or anything that's owned. So what does that mean? It means if Bitcoin, let's call the bottom now, it was 33, okay? And it doesn't matter if it was 29 either. I'll do the example on both. For this to still be a negative wave, meaning that we went too low, we're going to do something and we're going to drop. It means I take the tool from the top to the bottom. Where's 618? It's around 55K for Bitcoin. That's where I start making decision now if we don't hold the 30K region. Let's say we go a little bit lower now. Now we go to the 20, call it the 28,000K. We go there now. Where's the 618? Remember, this is still a negative move. But only if we go to 29K or to 28K, I am waiting for a rally bounce to the region of 48 to 58K, still being a negative trend, meaning we can get a lower low on the next leg down. But that is where I'll be saying, okay, let me now start getting back into dollars. But what did it do for you? It taught you not to panic out of this whole range of here. Do not get flushed out. Do not become the sheep. Just understand higher time frame view. Did we break that one? Because that's the important one that I really care. I don't care about the drops right now. It's where do I get on the next move and where we're looking at from that sort of zone over there. So, guys, I'm going to be spending the rest of the week going through all the alts. I'm going to go through all of them, all the different views on them, how we're going to react to them. But you guys needed to have the basic full understanding on where we're looking at with Bitcoin. We've got big news today. We want Bitcoin to break through 42. I do know there's going to be big sell walls. I feel like there's a lot of people that are short in the market at this point, and there's a lot of shorts that are holding out there. So I do think we are going to get a little reaction at 40, 42, anywhere in that region again. If we can reclaim the 46, then it means, this 618 that I was talking about over here, it means if we break 46, we can be well on our way over the next few weeks back to the 55K region, holding the 33 that we held in play. Now, if we don't break out of that trend, let me just get that trend back for you guys. Make sure you have it on your charts. There's the trend over there. I need us to rally through this trend. We need to get above 42 to the 44K region. If we don't do that, it does mean that 30K is still possible. Definitely. Remember, I'm not panicking out of this. It just shows me higher time frame that if we do hold 33K now as the low, it means we can still get a higher high this year. That's what it means. But if we don't hold the 30K region, it means, I don't think Bitcoin's going to go higher high. So when Bitcoin approaches to 50K, then it's time for me to start getting back to dollars. And it means, maybe the remainder of the year, I just got to preserve dollars. And at a time again, can be next year, can be the thing after, we can have the bull cycle again. But I need to start learning how to react. You need to start identifying your weaknesses, your strengths. Are you a greedy person? Are you a fearful person? Because now you've just been through a fearful market. How did you react? What did you do? Make sure you write the stuff down. Because the next time this happens again, or the next time we have this, no one can tell me right now that Bitcoin can't break all-time high again. I don't care what anyone says. Bitcoin's proven many people wrong and it's done it many times. But when it does that again, do you know what the hell you're doing? Because if you don't, you're going to go through this again. It's quite simple. You know what I mean? It's just a simple thing of identifying yourself and as well as fearful. If you sold out here and you were panicking out of the market and you buy back on this move over here again, just remember how you felt at that time and remember your weakness. Are you a greedy person? Are you a fearful person? And keep it easy. So, guys, with Bitcoin, hopefully the news comes out good today. If the news comes out great, we have volume right now, and I think we can get that 42K level. That's the level we want to break to start chasing the 618. And if not, we then look at the next sort of lows. But I hope you're just identifying the little bit of emotion. I'll be going through a lot of alts, and at some point we are going to have that dominance turn, and that will happen, when Bitcoin's at those key levels. So I think let's keep it at that for now. I'm here for the rest of the week. I am back, guys. I do apologize for being a bit quiet. I was exhausted. I was tired. It was a lot of things that were going down at those points. But we're here, and I'm with it through all of you guys. Remember, keep learning. The only time you learn is in a bear market. It's the only time you learn. In a bull market, you don't care. You're just making tons of money. You're a genius. But in the bear market, you really identify yourself. It teaches you a lot. Jot down how you feel. And remember, the next time, the market can only go down, it can only go sideways, or can only go upwards. That's only 3 ways it can do it. If you can identify your strengths and weaknesses in each level that you've been through, you've passed. You now have a degree in trading, or you have a degree in the markets. And every time you go through it, you'll have your sets of rules of your strengths and weaknesses, and it just becomes a lot easier. I'm very emotionless with this stuff. It's not about getting it right, getting it wrong. It's about what to do going forward and how to prevent these things and to make sure I don't run in this wheel. Because the only time you're going to be losing in crypto is if you keep running in the wheel. Ask the guys that have been with us for the last year. They stayed. They stayed through the hard crash of this region over here. Let's just mark it up. They stayed. And all the guys that stayed are still in money right now because Solana is still a 4x. Everything is still way above. Those who got flushed out, they came back and they bought here. And now they're getting through the same cycle again. So keep it simple. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's make it easy for ourselves. I will see you guys all on the next show. Much love, Banter.